Today we'll be talking just one chapter, Revelation 12.
Revelation 12.
今天我们来看的只是一章，就是启示录的第12章。
And we actually started that when we started this course, interestingly enough.
当我们第一课的时候，我们也是从第12章开始做我们这个查经班的开始。
So we sort of want to end in the beginning.
我们想这一次是我们最后一次查启示录，所以我们也是想在最后一次也是回到我们的第一次开始。
Because the beginning is actually the start of the ending.
Okay.
Yeah, in God's timing. Yeah. So it's important to really understand where we're going. One of the things that we've been drilling you is the Hebraic layering.
希望我们在这个课程里面学到的就是有不同的方法去看圣经，特别是在启示录预言的事上，我们要从一个 Hebraic way， 一个希伯来的方法去看，不是用一个 linear way。
And the chocolate muffin there is linear.
Chocolate muffin is linear. Okay, chocolate muffin 是 linear.
Because it's only one.
Okay. 只有一个 ingredient 在里面。
And in this banana walnut muffin, there's at least 3 layers.
We have
in a way.
Coconut in there too.
Oh, 4.
He doesn't know.
But I'm enjoying it now. Delicious. You should. I hope you guys. I hope you guys try it.
So
Yes.
This recipe that I learned. Yes,
Carol,
this recipe. I learned this recipe when I first landed in Canada. I was in my teens. And there is no second recipe come next to that.
Yeah.
Can you share?
Of course.
Oh yeah.
Of course.
Of
course.
Yeah, and that
course.
it's really different.
You know, this one you don't even need to use any bitter. You
Beating.
bitter, like bitter.
Yeah,
You don't need any
But
bitter.
just a chocolate.
Just use a ladle, just mix.
Oh.
Or
Yeah.
maybe fold.
你还
That's it.
你还把这 walnut 放进去，对吧？他还放 walnut， 还放那个核桃仁。
Yeah.
谢谢，代替你的心意。
哦，这个是很好的，
那你一定 share 给我。
一定哦 so good。
吴兰也喜欢。对我来说啊，可以了，我就吃就行。
那你
做我就不吃。
没有
You need to learn and share.
没有
Daryl.
胡兰做了以后呢，他分一半给你。
我分享给你。
原先护平就做那个包子嘛，我天天就看他们做包子，那后来4-5个人在家学，就是你来学，哎，我说你我还学啥？我学。
你知道你是最，
我是最懒的，就是做
然后
饭。
你说你是享福的人，
也有这个爱好做。
So we have at least 7 topics to talk about.
OK 就是在启示录第12章，我们可以找到7件事，我们可以说的。这个是他 This is all Andrew's work, okay? Andrew divided into 7 layers, and when I look at the topics, and I said, "Wow!" And I just chip in some of the notes that I have, and he does make up all the slides. So hope that you really enjoy them.
And the slides is around already 40 plus slides. I stopped in item number 4 or 5. So if I add more to 5, 6, and 7, it's going to be too long. But we will still try to cover it today.
Yeah, so we really hope that you enjoy that you learn something from it.
So let us learn. Get the Chinese Bible or so.
OK， 你们要打开就是启示录的第12章，我们也常常要回去，因为如果不是从头开始明白的，会有很多疑问。但是你明白了以后呢，就应该是减少了很多疑问哦。
See, even though I've gone this many times before, but when I actually sat down and really look at it almost verse by verse,
phrase by phrase.
phrase by phrase, and almost word by word, I start to realize, wow, it's so rich.
Yes, so rich. Yes.
So I'd like you to look at Revelation chapter 12, 1 and 2. So
Just the two first verses, right?
yes.
Okay.
So go to that page and see what are some things that you
want to know.
You want to know or caught your attention.
Just the one, the two, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just two.
Yeah. A great sign.
Yeah.
Great sign. Very good.
为什么带12个新的冠冕？
Oh, why? Okay, very good. So we have two clues or something that
Two
we
things that we want to
we
find
want
out.
to look into. Yes. Anything else?
富人是吗？
怀孕，
怀孕，
第二节吧。
什么？
怀
第二节
怀的孕，
说怀孕，
怀孕。
怀孕 Okay, pregnant,
多了，
agony,
7
pain.
日头，
Mm,
2月上。第一个
very
这
good.
是第一、第二节啊。
So that's a good start. So, Fang, you got it. The first one, sign. But you still have to try to understand what the word sign means.
就是这个字是什么意思？
Even in English, the sign itself has so many connotations to it.
就是在看英文，这个 sign 已经有很多不同的一个意思。
So not only Greek, right? Okay, so in Greek, to study, we have a reference called Strong's Concordance.
这是圣经的字典吧？
And what it does is it gets all the words in the Bible and create the meaning of it.
他把圣经所有的字都放在 Strong's Concordance 这一本查经的书，全部的字他都列在里面，然后把全部的希腊文跟希伯来文都放在里面，它的原本的意思。
So the word sign, we see it at least 3 times or 2 times in chapter 12, verses 1 and verses 3. Sign. So what does that mean? The sign means a miracle, a mark, a token, indication, typically miraculous, confirmation, authenticates, and it gives an emphasis.
所以 sign 也可以说是一个神迹，是一个 marker，是一个超自然的东西，是用来确认、证实或是认证。
Got the wrong one, sorry. Upload. Okay, that's fine. Maybe it's too big of a file. Okay, but anyway, we got it here. So the last few weeks in end of August,
8月底，
I don't know if you guys noticed that the moon is very visible.
不晓得你没有发觉这个月亮很大。
So actually,
水月，blood moon，
No，
it's even bigger than that. It's super blue moon.
叫做 Super Blue Moon， 就是在
the
8
end
月
of
底。
August。
Yeah,
Yes.
we have a Super Blue Moon event. So what
Okay.
is Super Blue Moon?
是那个就是属于像那个最长的那一天的结束，可能是。I
Okay.
guess so.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So, but something spectacular, right?
Yeah, but recently I found the moon is getting bigger and bigger. Sometimes you drive at night, you say, "What? The moon is so big." Right now, it's sometimes you can see the moon.
Sometimes
bigger
I haven't
than-
noticed
right.
lately, yeah.
Yeah. But the last 2 weeks, it's super big.
So
Yeah.
the difference between Super Moon and Super Blue Moon.
Yeah. And blood moon is something else too.
Something else totally
Yeah.
different.
But the moon is something spectacular. Yes. So what we see, of course, the moon is in heaven, right?
我们知道月亮是在天上，
So actually, it's part of verses 1 and 3.
OK， 第1跟第3节，
It talks about a great sign appeared in heaven.
就是说在天上出现大异象。
And then it happened again in verse 3.
第3节又出现异象，
But interestingly, if we will go later, that this two heaven is different.
但是我们知道，慢慢我们看见这2个的天是不同的天。
But even though the word is there,
我们在圣经只是看 heaven，
but it's different.
但是是2个不同的 heaven。
So let's see. So I wrote there verses 1 and 3, and again the Strongs tell us that there's it tells us about two two things going on there, and another sub item on number 1. But let me explain it more clearly, probably to us in simpler terms. There's 3 heavens.
我们知道有3层天，
Do you remember Paul? What did he say?
他去了
7层天，
3层。
3层。
3 heaven. So a lot of people don't even know what that is.
什么是3层天？
So let me explain in simpler terms. The first layer of heaven is called the atmosphere.
这是大气层的，就是第1层天。
So that's where the birds, the cloud, the thunder, the planes fly. That's the atmosphere. That's the first level. And the second level is the space. So something still breathable, that is the atmosphere. But once you get out of the earth atmosphere, it becomes space. So there's no oxygen, right? So that's become the moon, the stars, the planets, and all the if you're into astronomy, there is the constellation, there's the Milky Way and everything. And then the third level is where God and the other quotation mark heavenly beings dwell.
就是上帝和其他天体，居住的第3层最高的地方。
And interesting, later we will even shock you that someone is there.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So-
but we can't reach that part so far. Even the space or whatever, go to Mars, tomorrow, so we might reach the third level.
Yes, that's right. So that's the second heaven. Yeah. Yeah. So what we go is one step in space. We usually talk about constellations.
所以我们现在来看一看什么是星体。
And what I do is I like to give background first before I punch you with like what Jesus was giving us. I am the bread of life. Today's meaning, right? They were asking for more food, but Jesus said, I am the bread of life. So I will give you the punchline later. So the constellation is part of the starry heaven, which is the space. It is a group. What is constellation? It's a group of stars that look like a particular shape in the sky, and they gave it a name. And these things are man-made. Man-made meaning the Chinese did it, the Egyptians did it, the French did it. All mankind saw the same figure and they came up with their own names.
No worries, no, this
Okay.
is not in the Bible, so but I think you're doing so good slowly, and there's picture to guide, so I'll just
So why is the constellation used? So when I'm younger, I was a Boy Scout. And the very important thing we have is a compass, right? So now we have GPS that tell us where's the true north, right? But in the past, they don't have a compass and they only look at the stars. So they look at the North Star, if you know where it is, or they call it the Polaris, right? The Polaris star. That's always there, that will not turn. Interesting enough, that star will not move. So it's a very good reference. Okay, and officially, there's 88 recognized constellations. And one of them is familiar to us, which is the Milky Way. That's where we are in the whole vast universe. So somewhere there, maybe we can find it somewhere.
you're looking for Earth.
Yeah. Here's our sun. Here is our sun. And we're somewhere there. We're so small. But there are that's the signs, wonders, right?
But why God made this? Why God?
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
That's the mystery. That's why a sign appeared in heaven, and we will see this sign. Okay. So background. There's three types of constellation. There's seasonal, and we will focus on the zodiac, which is the 12 zodiac constellation.
黄道12宫.
Yeah, the reason why there is it's based on the movement of our sun, and we can see it. And actually, people in the forest or in very dark places
open field.
can really identify those constellations.
They can see when it's not cloudy.
And why did God make that? Very good. But let me just go here first. We actually have 12 of this zodiac constellation in our galaxy, in our world. So here is a picture of, I counted 13 instead of 12. I don't know why, but maybe This one is actually not part. This Ophiuchus is actually not part of our zodiac constellation, but somehow they put it there. Maybe it's beside it. Okay, so there's Aries, there's Taurus, there's Gemini,
3,
Cancer,
4,
Leo,
8月、9月、
Virgo,
11
Libra, Scorpion,
11月。
uh,
So this is together.
yeah, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. And why did they name that way?
Really.
Yeah. And we will see later, I think there's one of the pictures. They show them like lion is like a head of the lion. So they call it Leo. And Virgo is like a picture of a woman. Okay? So God made those things there.
God made those, not by man,
Okay.
but God made those.
Translate that in Chinese.
神把这些星体放在天上，
It's only man that identify it.
人就是把它找出来，然后把它放不同的名字。
So Fang Yi asked the question, why God made that?
为什么神要在天上做这一切？
Because there's a reason. We will show you one of the reasons. So here's a picture of a Chinese
Sarah,
proof. Yes. In Chinese form of the constellation that Chinese identify. Okay. But we will go, oh yes, very important. What is the difference between astronomy and astrology?
天文学和就是天文学就是 astronomy，OK， 另外那个 astrology 呢就不是天文学 ，astrology 就是不应该的，就是占星学 ，OK， 占星学 ，OK， 这两个不一样的，一个是天文学，一个是占星学。
So astronomy is a science. So real stuff in there. Astrology is people have a belief of the stars and the planets that affect the people on this earth.
OK， 这个很重要哦。天文学是研究地球大气层以外的一切事物的科学，比如说，它包括行星、恒星、小恒星、星系，以及那些天体的属性和关系。天文学家的研究以研究和观察为基础，但是呢，占星学就是用这些恒星和行星的位置，说他们会影响地球上将来发生什么事，就是说算命、迷信，这是两个不同的学说。
So actually in the Bible, in Deuteronomy 18,
那谁可以找出来？生命记我来读一下，生命记18章9到14节，神怎么说？
these are things that are not allowable.
给谁找到谁读啊？生命记18章。
18章第几节
9到14节。
你到了耶和华你神所赐之地，那些国民所行可憎的事，你不可学着行。你们中间不可有人使儿女经火，也不可有占卜的、观照的、用法术的、行邪术的、用泥术的、教鬼的、行巫术的、播音的。凡行这些事的，都为耶和华所憎恶。因那些国民行这可憎的事儿，所以耶和华你的神将他们从你面前赶出。 你要在耶和华你的神面前做完全人，因你所要赶出的那些国民都听信关照的和占卜的。至于你，耶和华你的神从来不许你这样行。
Okay.
So especially in Western society, astrology or fortune telling is so much big business.
就是我们在北美洲，我们在Western world， 我们常常就是用就是占星学来算命，来去猜测将来要发生的事，就是用这个方面来做一种的迷信。
And I will explain later when I get to that point to show you why we should not be doing that.
OK， 我们是不应该做的，这个是神所憎恶的。
Why people do all those may be fake, but sometimes we will see some things happening there.
OK， 但是为什么天文学是可以学的呢？
So astronomy is science. So that is something not made up. Okay, it's based on facts, right?
就是天文学是研究大气层以外的东西，但是这个是事实，是存在的一些星体。
Yeah, so big difference. I will show you this picture actually is a French example of our constellation. And here it actually show you like Leo. Here's Leo.
Oh.
They take the points of the stars and they think, oh, that looks like a Leo. Virgo, they take all the points and they form the Leo. So Gemini, Taurus, I don't know this one. So we also have Aquarius, Capricorn, Scorpion, the snake. So that's how they do. So it's there, and different cultures have identified the same
amazing, huh?
features of the constellation. Okay, so that is a picture. So this is not astrology. So this is astronomy.
这个不是占星学，这个是天文学。
So because we read Deuteronomy, a lot of Christians say, okay, no more studies on the stars.
所以呢，就是很多在北美洲的基督徒啊，神在生命记说不要研究这些，所以他们就完全放开去明白神在天上给我们的星体。
So we need to understand the real astronomy versus astrology.
我们要知道什么是天文学，什么是占星学，把它能够分开，那我们就得到很多的。
Fang Yi was asking the right question. Why did God put there to give us a sign?
就是 Oh, I just want to jump ahead. When I understand that, I really praise the Lord. 因为很多的不同的语言我们很难交通，但是神放在天上的根本不用出声，你看你就知道他的意思。
So we go back to Revelation chapter 12 verses 1 and 2.
Okay, 我们再回去启示录第12章第1、第2节。
It talks about a woman.
那边有一个女人。
Right? And then it talks about a son.
然后他在那边又说有一个孩子。
No, sunshine.
啊 ，sun 哦，对不起 ，sun 太阳。
Yes. And then it talks about a moon under her feet.
然后呢，他又说月亮在他的脚下。
And then it talks about 12 stars.
然后他说他的头上有12颗星，
And then she was pregnant.
然后我们知道她怀孕，
And she was crying out because she was in birth pain and agony of giving birth.
她是在辛苦，她是在疼痛，她是在艰难，她是在生产的过程的当中。
So with mothers who is about to give birth, they all know the pain.
Yes.
So in September 23rd, 2017, everything lined up.
Okay, you can go ahead. I
Okay.
think it's beautiful.
So
No
we talked
interruption.
about the sun by, what was that?
In the Virgo.
No, the sun.
Yeah. P 带生僻日头，
Okay.
生僻日头，
And then the moon is on the feet.
它的月亮的位置是在 Virgo 的脚的下面，
And then what? 12 stars?
它12颗星。
And Leo, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then exactly on that point, Venus showed up, Mars showed up, Mercury showed up. So 9, 10, 11, 12.
So Venus, Mars, and Mercury, they're called wandering stars. So they don't need to be lined up in this way.
Yes.
And there are many people said that, oh, 在 Leo 的头上有不是9颗星，有很多其他的 number， you know 在网上看见很多不同的 number， 但是我们要知道是9颗能够看得见的星，还有很多小的我们没有算在里面，就是9颗名字能够看得见的是9颗的星，然后加上 3 wandering stars， 刚刚好 line up on that day. Okay.
And it talks about the woman she's pregnant and she's crying in pain and she's in agony. So that's basically for mothers. Usually the baby in the womb is about 9 months.
About 9 to 10 months.
9 to 10 months. And interesting enough, in that year, 2017, 2017, yes, the Jupiter for 9 months was going around here. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
没有，他是从2016年的11月进去。
Yeah, so you count 9 months.
Yeah.
It is going around.
他好像要出来了，他又再回去，在他那个womb里面来去，大概41个星期的时间。
So other people, they can claim that yes, they have seen Leo and Virgo line up and sometimes different stars, but they've never seen the Jupiter inside.
Yes, see, that is what is amazing.
And some scientists said it occurred only once, 7,000 years. And some scientists said the first one occurred when Adam was born. Okay, or Adam was formed. So what we're seeing is there's a sign. Revelation is basically telling us this is the beginning.
Of end time, we are in the book of Revelation.
And we also study the patterns of 70 to 80 years.
因为我们也学到圣经给我们看见，一个世代是70到80年。
And we will see later how the sign come to the timeline. Yes. Okay. So in December, last December, we showed this slide video. It's called the Star of Bethlehem. The Star of Bethlehem, very similar as that.
就是说天上有一颗星，我们也知道 that's how God communicate His plan to the world. That you don't need to use language. 我们不需要语言，不需要翻译。
But if you go home and click on this link, it will show you what we saw on the 12 alignments. And this book by Bullinger was written before the 19th century. And he's a pastor. He wrote the signs, Witness of the Stars.
He gives you a very detailed message of every single constellation and the message that God wants to send to us.
So we see here, and a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her foot, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. She was pregnant and was crying in pain, agony, and giving to birth. So what we see is in September 23, 2017, that's the great sign in heaven that is telling us Revelation 12:1 and 2. That is the beginning of the end days. So we talk about layering. A woman in travail or in pain is giving to birth. We will see that later. Okay, so now we go to the woman. Who is it? Aquarius? So even in the Old Testament, Zechariah has already been telling us.
在撒迦利亚书，我们都已经看见这个 woman， 这个女的。
可以念吗？
可以啊，在谁可以找到谁读撒迦利亚14章1到6节。
Zechariah chapter 14, 1 to 6. We will read this, and interesting enough, Revelations chapter 12 tells us almost the identical thing.
耶和华的日子临近，你的财物必被抢掠，在你中间分散。因为我必聚集万国与耶路撒冷征战，城必被攻取，房屋被抢夺，妇女被玷污，城中的民一半被掳去，剩下的民仍在城中不致剪除。那时耶和华必出去，与那些国征战，好像从前征战一样。那日他的脚必站在耶路撒冷前面，朝东的橄榄山上，这山必从中间分裂，自东至西，成为极大的谷。山的一半向北挪移，一半向南挪移。你们要从我山的谷中逃跑，因为山谷必延到亚萨。你们逃跑，必如犹大王乌西雅年间的人逃避大地震一样。耶和华我的神必降临，有一切圣者同来。那日必没有光，三光必退缩。
Does it sound familiar?
Yes.
在中间点的时候，我们读启示录，在第6号 the sixth trumpet 的时候。
Yes. So we read now, we just read Zechariah 14. So if we read Revelation chapter 12, who can read chapter 12?
第几节？
Well, there's many indication of the woman. Let's start with 1 to 6. Chapter 12, 1 to 6.
天上出现大异象来，有一个妇人。
Okay, 1, that's a 妇人.
身披日头，脚踏月亮，头戴12星的冠冕。她怀了孕，
Okay, means she.
在生产的艰难中疼痛呼叫。
Okay, skip to the next verse 4.
她的尾巴拖拉着天上星神的1/3，摔在地上。龙就站在那将要生产的妇人面
Okay,
前，
foreign again, woman.
等她生产之后，要吞吃她的孩子。妇人生了一个男孩子，是将来要用铁杖辖管万国的。他的孩子被提到上帝宝座那里去了。妇
Okay.
人就逃到旷野，在那里有上帝给他预备的地方，使他被养活1260天。
Okay, now skip to verse 13 to 14. 13, 14.
龙见自己被摔在地上，就逼迫那生男孩子的妇人，这里有妇人啊，
Yeah.
于是有答应的2个翅膀赐给妇人，叫她能飞到旷野，到自己的地方躲避那蛇。她在那里被养活1载、2载、半载。
Okay, stop. So interesting enough, when you see verse 6 and verse 14, it's actually the same thing. 1,260 days. 好像有人。外国人。Okay. Okay, so same thing, 1,260 days is the same thing as a time, and a half. So 3.5 years. So let's move on. Verse 15 to 17.
OK， 蛇就在妇人身后，从口中吐出水来，像河一样，要将妇人冲去。地却帮助妇人，开口吞了从龙口吐出来的水。龙向妇人发怒，去与他其他的儿女征战。这儿女就是那守上帝诫命、为耶稣做见证的。那时，龙就站在海边的沙上。
Okay, so very similar to Zechariah chapter 14 and Revelation 12. It talks about the woman, and this woman is all about Israel. Okay, and we will see that
more clearly.
more clear in Zechariah, because it talks about the nations surrounding Israel. And if you notice the world events, actually many nations are now grouping together. And we see some were enemies, but now they're together. And why are they forming together? Because they want to fight against Israel. Okay.
They want to wipe Israel off from the map. That's what I always heard them saying.
Yes, that's right. So the woman talks about Israel. So now we want to see verses 3. This talks about the devil or the dragon.
The dragon. 第3节。
Okay, I'd like you to spend some time in verse 3 to 4. Actually, two verses. Only 2 verses, and see what you can figure out.
就是你看见龙，他对龙有什么样的描述啊？
So this is one form of Bible study that forces you to to see what are the gems inside the two verses. So
就是
again,
龙是红
yeah.
红色的龙。
So what are some things that you find there? What are you curious about? What do you notice? Why is it done that way, or how it's described? So I'll show you what I come up to. So the green things are things that I caught my attention. Just imagine 10, 20 years ago when I was starting in seminary, there's no such capability. We have to write it in paper. It's even in typewriter, I can't even figure it out. But now, with computer, with word processing, I can separate it and it can show me something. So first, we already learned about sign, but now it said another sign. But in this case, this sign means, oh, it's a warning sign. It's a warning sign, and it's appearing in heaven. Remember, we learned about the 3 levels of heaven, but this time it talks about God's dwelling place. Wow. So it's even further from the space that we talk about the constellation. It's now among God's dwelling. And one thing I found out is several things. Great, and then red, dragon, 7 heads, 10 horns, on his head with 7 diadems. What is that? Okay. And then also we read his tail swept down, 1/3 of his stars. So here it seems like, what stars? We talk about stars being good stars and bad stars, and stars being messengers, which is angels, and we can also be messengers as well. So it has to be fallen angels. And then there's the word flung them onto earth. Wow.
Means that they're not willing to come down.
Well, first of all,
They have to come down.
I thought they're fallen angels among us. Don't you think so? That's always what we think, right? But no. Okay. And then suddenly it talks about the dragon stood before the woman who was about to give birth. So many things going there, so it's layered. And then we saw a child. We will learn about the child later. Differentiate the child.
So right now we know that the woman there is referred to what? Israel, right?
Yeah, the nation of Israel. Okay. So let's first see great red. What does that mean? Great. Remember, some time ago we talked about the great or mighty person, Nimrod?
Yeah.
Mighty, powerful, right? So great is the same definition. So it talks about mega. And this word appeared 67 times in Revelation. Here it means fierce, terrible, and large. Wow, That's how
很凶、很可怕、很巨大。
so in a way it's in the negative form, not the positive form. And also we get to learn about red. Red in Strong's tells us it's fiery red. It's burning red, okay? And that's where the word pyra means fire comes from. And the connotation of fire means light. Whoa, light. Talks about light. Who when we talk about light, who do we think of? How about the negative form? Yeah, time the form. Yeah. And also Lucifer, he's the angel of light. Yeah, he's supposed to be a good angel. But because he wanted to be better than God. Okay. The word also mean mid. And that's why there's a measurement called midpoint. And we will see that apply in our revelations. This red only occurs twice. The red dragon and also the red horseman of the apocalypse. Only twice. And the word red is associated to pyramid. Interesting enough, pyramid. And it talks about the shape of a volcano. Okay, the fire in the middle of the volcano. Here's a picture of a volcano.
火山的中间。
Right? So it's like a pyramid. And then in the middle of the volcano, we know the lava comes out. So a strong red fire. Okay. So we continue to talk about the dragon. The dragon itself is called Drakon. It's mentioned in Revelation chapter 12 and 20. The dragon also means sea. So pay attention to this one. This is really important. The dragon sea. Very keen eyesight and have the insight of wisdom and ability to understand mysteries. Yeah, well,
可以，就是说龙是很聪明、很狡猾。
yes. And also, the dragon now refers to Lucifer, Satan, and the devil.
所以圣经给龙有很多不同的名字。
And later on, we'll see in Revelations 12, it talks about all the dragon related to this. Oh, interesting enough, this dragon, he likes to be a solitary creature, like he wants to be by himself. So what he does is he influences things from a distance. He doesn't have to do the things. So he has his fallen angels, the demons on this earth, the evil spirits to do his work. So he's not physical here, but he can come down. But did you know something else, which many people don't know? I will show you later. Okay, so somehow he's able to see historically from the beginning to the end. So he knows what's happening and he wants to break the pattern or the results.
所以，因为龙它的意思是能看见，我们就知道它不但是看见它，因为它能看见，它的意思也给我们知道，它能够看见很远，它能够从很远的地方看到很远的地方，从很远可以看到很远。
Okay, so okay, The dragon is very clever and subtle, and subtly caused them to act in virtue of influence rather than grabbing the power. When you see the serpent coming to Adam and Eve in the garden, the serpent is very subtle. He slides down very quietly. Eve didn't even notice that the serpent was there. So it's interesting here to note the next third bullet point. At this moment, the dragon is in heaven. Do you notice that? Everybody thought that, hey, only God have his people. But at this moment, Satan is actually there. And you know what Satan is doing?
他当然不是跟神同在一处，但是他是在同一层天。
Yeah. He's not living with God,
Yes.
but he's doing something. Do you know what he does?
他就在神面前告诉神：“嘿，你看谁？看谁？看谁？是不控告地上的
就是他控告那个
约伯？
约伯的那个，
这是一个给我们看见一件事，但是其实也告诉我们撒旦龙在上面做的事情。
那就给人感觉就说是，实际上就在天堂，在神的那个 dwelling 的地方，也是一个不是一个 pure 的，也是充满了有敌对的呀。那你要说如果 angel 是这样的，那么 angel 就是
所以为什么
哪有 peaceable？
所以呢，为什么要今天那个 millennium 以后呢？神要怎么样？他要重新再做天和地，他要把过去的天和地 ，That's why the heaven and earth will pass away.
Yeah. So the question is why
神力
God allow Satan, the bad spirit, to be part
That's
of God's dwelling?
So yeah, he is also
Well, God created a perfect environment,
yes.
but evil came into it. So not only on earth, but also in heaven. And Satan, as you know, is called the accuser.
Yeah.
And Satan, the very first incident, do you remember that Daryl, when did he accuse? He comes down to earth and then he goes back to heaven and he complains to God. You remember who?
I can't remember the details, but I know what you're talking about.
Job.
Yes.
He was complaining about Job. Oh God, you gave Job so much richness, so much powerful, good health. That's why he likes you. That's why he worships you. Well, God said you can do whatever you want, except do not take his life. That's exactly what Satan is doing right now, is accusing each one of us to God. You see Fang Yi there, he's sitting and she's not listening.
Oh, she is.
Is she a good Christian? That's what Satan is doing, complaining. Yes. And what is Jesus? What does Jesus do? Jesus died so that Jesus can be our mediator. So Jesus is in heaven mediating for us. For all reasons.
in Jesus' name.
Amen. Yes. Yes. And that's the reason why Revelation 12 is written, to say that Satan's time is coming to an end. And we will see that very soon. So at this time, Satan, or the dragon, is in heaven accusing each one of us, each Christian. And he has his evil people or evil beings to do his work down on earth. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I should say it here, but you can see that in this world it's so evil now.
More and more evil.
More and more evil. What is right is wrong. What is wrong is right. And then not only that, people that we elect are not doing what we ask them to do, but doing the opposite. That's how evil it is. So in a way, we can say that these people are evil possessed. Yeah. Okay. So right now, Satan is in heaven. Satan is not in hell. A lot of people think that Satan is in hell. No. Satan is not on earth, but he's still in heaven, accusing us. And also his angels are still in heaven. That's why there's always a constant battling there as well. So Satan has total access to God. He accuses us day and night, and that is why Jesus stands there pleading on our behalf, interceding for us. Can you not see how Jesus is doing? He not only died for us, for our sin, but he's interceding
I'm very
for us.
touched that he's always at work on our behalf.
So here's a connection. We know God wants to dwell in the high mountains, in Mount Zion, the holy mountain of God, Ezekiel. Mountain on the side of the north where the king is in Psalms. So what does the evil people want to do? I want to be God.
They want to make their fake mountains.
I want to do the same one. So Nimrod, we learned some time ago, is the first Antichrist. He built Babel so that he can have access to heaven. Satan created artificial mountains. So mountains is the pyramid, right? And also we know that Satan or the dragon said about sight, the eye, the ability to see. And there's something called the all-seeing eye, which is on top of the pyramid. So if you go to the pyramid, you'll see the encrypted eye, a picture of an eye. And interestingly, it's on the back of the US dollar. Even though the US dollar was established many years ago, I don't even know American history, what year. But if you notice, in their dollar,
Yeah.
this is pyramid. This is true. It's still there. I don't know if they have US dollars or not. You can go look at it.
Yeah, look at that.
It reads I.
Yeah.
So
We talk about secret societies in the past in our lesson here. We talk about the Freemasons. So one of the presidents or the cabinet in the United States, whoever did this, designed this because it's a secret society. He wants to take over the world. How many years now? It's more than, well, a few hundred years anyway from American history. This dollar is still there. The all-seeing eye. If you go to the very top of the pyramid, you will see something like this, an eye. But they make it very obvious, right? But people don't know. They thought, oh, it's a very nice design. And then what does it say? In God we trust.
Yes.
So they thought it was the Christian God that they were trusting, but no. trusting their fake God. You see how evil it is? It's not only now, many generations ago already. She asked me to put this there, which is very symbolic, yes. Okay, so here are the names related to the dragon. So we see in verse 9, the dragon is also called the ancient serpent, which is related to Adam and Eve, right? The original serpent tempted Adam and Eve. It also attempted to trick Jesus to fail. And also it actually went into Judas to betray Jesus. Here is a very compelling Bible verse that you guys probably did not notice or did not really understand. But when you see this verse, oh, sorry, not this verse. Maybe I have it somewhere else. I think I'll mention it again later. Here it talks about the different names of the dragon. Ancient serpent, Lucifer, in Ezekiel, in Isaiah, Satan, the accuser, adversary, devil, prince of darkness, Bezalel, Mephistopheles, can't even pronounce it. These are all the gods of in the past. The Antichrist, father of lies, and Moloch. Yeah, those are the gods of the pagans. Okay. Okay, here we go. It also talks about the 7 heads and 7 heads and 10 horns, and on his head 7 diadems. In Revelation 13, it repeats the same thing. Interesting enough, a beast that rises up on the sea with 7 heads and 10 horns. Wow. The woman in scarlet who rides the scarlet beast. This beast also has 7 heads and 10 horns. So Revelation 12 is already telling us this is happening. And remember, Revelation is written in layers, so it's not chronological order. But chapter 12 is already telling that, hey, this beast is coming. Okay, we talk about the beast from the earth and also the beast coming out from the sea. Okay, and actually, instead of the beast, it's actually the dragon. So the dragon is reproducing itself in a different form. Yes, representation and reproduction. Do you need to explain? Okay, let's move on. So 7 heads is 7 kingdoms, 7 kings, and also 7 mountains upon which the harlot sits on. So that's metaphorically. 10 horns meaning all powerful, all totality, fullness and completeness of power. So Satan is going to use those 7 kingdoms to control earth. Satan is reproducing itself on earth. He is recreating the image of himself through this beast. So we talk about the mark of the beast, the image of the beast. So Satan is actually wanting to have that implanted to people on this earth. Here is the Bible verse, very important verse. They will confirm to us. If somebody can read this, very important. Luke chapter 4, 5 to 6. Luke chapter 4. Luke chapter 4, 5 to 6.
魔鬼又领他上了高石撒时间，把天下的万国都指给他看，对他说：“这一切权柄、荣华我都要给你，因为这原是交付我的，我愿意给谁就给谁。”
Yeah. See? Did Jesus argue, say, no, the earth is mine? Jesus did not argue with Satan, saying that, no, that's not yours, it's mine. No. So Jesus already knows that Satan has the kingdom and authority on this world. And that confirms it. Satan is starting to look after kingdoms. And Jesus did not bow.
And that's how we need to live. That we
Yes.
bow to him.
Yes. Okay. Oh, this one is interesting. Did you notice this in verse 3? Is it 3? Yes. No, verse 4, 4a. His tail swept down a third of stars of heaven. When you first read it, what that must be really cryptic, isn't it? And cast them to earth. Wow. So the dragon takes one third of his stars, the fallen angels, and put them on earth.
意思说，现在这些他的 fallen angel 还在上面跟他，还没有下来，但是到了那个时间点，他就会 cast 1/3他的天使下来地上。
So
fallen angels.
fallen
Wise
angels
angels.
Yeah.
yes.
是属于他的。
Can you see how evil it will be at the abomination of desolation?
那个上他写 tail swept down third of star， 没说 star 那个是。
但是我们知道
，yeah，
但我们知道 star
angel 还是好 angel，
没有
看这字嘛，好像他是他坏，把好人给扫到地上了。但是他你说是把 swept down 地下，那不是说送到地下，那是他的人，但是
Yeah. So like we say, chapter 12, verse 4 is very cryptic. But now when we study the background, we know stars. Stars could be good angels and bad angels. But now his tail, it has to be Satan. So it has to be his bad angels. And remember, this is different from the angels being swept down by Michael. This is Satan himself saying, 1/3 of my angels, you guys come down now.
So
Start the battle.
Send them here.
This is before Michael sent them down. We will see that
Later.
in the next few verses. Okay. So cast them is, in a sense, going to place these fallen angels on earth. 1/3 of the angels in heaven fell with Satan. Satan can still go up and down. Okay. But now these angels will be implanted on this earth. Satanic influence spread by the fallen angels. They have all deceptive abilities, like Satan, to normalize things that are evil. So very simple now.
但是现在只是有那个 influence，但是呢，撒旦的 fallen angel 还没有来。
还没来。
Well,
那时候他说的，那时候他就看到个异象啊。
Yeah. A good example, they're forcing, even in elementary schools, that the students be called whatever they want, he or she, even though they're biological boy or girl. They're already forcing that in elementary schools. Even these little kids, they don't even know what's happening. They're asking the school system to use pronouns, don't use their names. That is bad influence. So a good example is they put this kind of books into the library. And then a person, I think it was a Christian that took this Bible, this book, and started praying. They took them out. They took the person out and left the book in the library.
Right now?
Yeah.
It's in the news that a person.
Actually, it happened is it in Winnipeg or in Calgary?
Here.
Yeah. Yeah, it did. It's already happening.
I have one thing to mention.
Yes,
I
sorry.
can't
Go.
remember when it was.
Yes.
They actually said prayer through the morning announcements.
Yes.
And they got rid of that.
Yes, that's right.
Grade school.
That's right. That's right. So long time ago, prayer begins, right? There's the prayer and then the flag raise up.
Okay.
That's
announcements.
That's
Everything.
normal every day.
School.
So they took out the prayer and then they left the flag day and night. They don't even take the flag anymore. But prayer, yes, that's right. That's how Satan is influencing the world. Okay. Satan maintains a distance. So he is not the one talking to people that can be influenced. So he has his minions, his bad angels, but he's still in heaven accusing us day and night. Okay, here is a slide. Okay.
就是说我放那个 timeline so that we can understand 什么时候发生什么事。
那如果是基督徒，就这种 bad angels 在那还在那curse 这些人，那人家不是基督徒的，完了他还不找他 curse 呢，我就是个瞎说。
So we see that the woman is in travail, birth pangs, right? So she's in this area. So this has already happened in September 23rd. So we now see that there's so many things happening right now.
但是还没有 travail， 以色列还没有战争，下一件会发生的事就是以色列会在一个战争的里面。
So over here, yeah. Okay. So we talk about Jesus coming here. 2,000 years ago. So there's a break.
No, this is the
7 8 in the middle.
No, this is 7 and 8 day. 这个是启示录第12章，这个不是我们的 timeline。This is not the timeline. 这是在启示录的第12章。
Oh, okay. This is the rapture. This is rapture.
Yeah. 就是这个是第12章的 经文。
After that.
那现在我们来读那个 child 是谁了？
Okay. Okay, so now we study the woman, the sign, heaven, devil or dragon. Now we're going to talk about woman, and now we're going to talk about the child. So we'll quickly look at this. So these two verse, again, two verse very short, but when you read it carefully, it has many meanings into it. So what I did is I broke it down into pieces. So number one is his tail swept down a third of the angels of heaven and cast down to earth. And then suddenly the angel stood before the woman, dragon before the woman, to my classes, who was about to give birth, so that when she born her child, she might devour it.
OK， 比如说你看，你就是读中文圣经，我们看不出来它的意思啊。它的尾巴拖拉着天上星神的1/3，摔在地上，龙就站在那将要生产的妇人面前，等她生产之后，要吞吃她的孩子。OK， 英文圣经看得不出来谁是那个孩子。
So we'll just show it for you now, but we will go deeper in a minute. So verse 5, she gave birth to a male child who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron.
第5节说，妇人生了一个男孩子，是将来要用铁杖辖管万国的。
They're all mixed in one Bible verse, but if you break it down, you'll see that, hey, but her child was caught up to God on his throne.
To his throne.
The timeline is not right. That's why it's all layered down, okay? So here we can see that this is the male child talks about Jesus.
But how do we know that it's talking about Jesus?
Okay, the male will prove to you that it identifies that as Jesus.
Okay.
But here we see that it's Jesus. But if you continue to read it, then you see that it doesn't make sense. But if you break it down, but her child was caught up to God on his throne. We notice caught up means harpazo. We learned that harpazo, which is rapture. See, when you break it down into different lines, you get to see the picture.
但是因为比如说你说这个 child 呢是主耶稣的话 ，it doesn't make sense， 因为主耶稣没有 called up， 主耶稣从来没有 harpazo 去天上 ，so this cannot refer to Jesus。
Yeah，
明白我的意思吗？
So when we start to see what child are we talking about?
Yeah, so that's a question you need to ask.
And here, not necessarily Berean, but when we study interlinear, basically what the interlinear is trying to do, it's giving us the original text and then the English word to it. So when we start looking into it, hey, the child here is teknon.
在希腊文是 technon.
And then another child here is teknon.
So we know that they are together.
Different meaning. And then we see here a son, also a child.
但是它的希腊文是 huroi.
Yeah.
你看见吗？
So when we see the original text, now we understand that this son, this child, refers to God or Jesus. And this child talks about either Israel or Christians. Okay? So how do we see that? So when we go deep down, teknon earlier on, the yellow one, refers to
children,
okay.
Okay.
Child or children, which is daughter or son.
So it's not just one, 是 children, 可以是男的，可以是女的。
So it's like a plural, and that indicates Christian. And the other side now is called hyrios, which is called child, just child or son. But it has several definitions. But when we go there, we see it refers to the Son of God, which is Jesus. So that's how we go in-depth Bible study to really understand what the text is trying to tell us.
然后呢，在我自己的 Bible study 里面呢，这个黄色的 technon 黄色这个字，它是跟约翰福音1章12节，它那个 technon 是一样的，是同一个 technon 的字。约翰福音1章12节，告诉我们，凡接待他的，信他名的人，给。凡接待他的，就是信他名的人，他就赐他们权柄，做神的儿女。So 这个 child 就是 techno， 所以我们知道黄色这个 techno 是指今天的信徒，就是它是同一个字，凡信他名的人。
那是希腊文吧？
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just want to see who's who.
Okay. Good. Good, Daryl. You understood what you said.
不是第5节说的这个，第5节说的就是耶稣吧？还是指的你说的那个？
所以你要看
他
What
说
are
了
we
呀，
talking
他说
about?
a male child。
Yeah. 所以这个就是你要看在原文第5节，我们去第5节。Yeah. Yes. But we want to deal with the word child, right? 第5节那个是耶稣 That's the singular plural. Yeah. 就是这里第5节，哈哈。第一个是
a son。
A son.
中
That
文
is
就
plural.
明白了呀，中
对，
文说的很清楚。
这个他这个
那个 NIV 是 child. 这个 child. So what kind of
Yeah,
child?
exactly. So that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. 如果你是有那个对的 version， 那么你就可以明白到。
这是第5节的第一个男孩子，就是 the blue one。
然后他就说，就生了一个男孩子，是将来用铁杖捆上。
这是主耶稣啊。
那不就是
他说的后面那个 child 那是另外一个，紧接着讲 ，and her child was snatched up.
That is the yellow technon. Yes, that is the technon.
这个就是不是指的耶稣，指的是那个前面说的那个，就可以说是个复数的信神的这些子。
对了，是我们是怎么可以把它分别出来呀？就是看刚才给我们的希腊文给我们能看得出来。就是很多人就是把这个男孩子跟这个孩子是把它连，就是把它就是主耶稣。但是我们要问一个问题，主耶稣没有被提，没有啊 ，exactly。Yes， 不是指主耶稣的意思。
Yes, very good.
明白吗 ？So when I discover that, it's like gold to me because I can understand. 就是而且启示录是写给谁啊？是写给末世还存在的人，所以它不是指以色列人。
Okay, so next Bible verses is from 7 to 9. it talks about war in heaven. This is talking about a different incident now. So let's read. Do I have it? I think I have. Now a war rose in heaven. Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon. Now this is before verses 1 to 6. So a long time already.
时间就是不是同一个时间点，就是说启示录第12章是给了我们一个 framework， 整个 time 会发生了什么事。到了第7节这里呢，天上已经有了一个战争，它跟第6节是分开的一个不同的时间点了哦。
So the first part is Satan himself brought 1/3 of his stars.
Yeah.
But now Michael will bring down the rest of the angels down. Michael angel.
天使，
那个是好的天使。
那个是以后我会看见他。
But he's
Yeah.
给照你
是一直这个没出现过的，所以我说
有，
他是打，
这个词儿呢一直没出现过，只有在启示录里面。
不是，
他是打仗，
在单义里也是
有出现，
有
比加勒，
一个就是 Michael， 另外一个是 Gabriel。Gabriel.
In heaven, I want to stand next to Michael.
Okay, Gabriel. Okay, the angel Michael. Gabriel is announced.
Yeah.
He is a speaker,
announcer.
But Michael is a warrior.
有很多男孩子好喜欢叫 Michael 的。
但是他们
，Michael 很多。
难怪人这无奇。
他们不明白他们叫什么名，为什么是叫 Michael, right? Okay. So Michael and the angels fought back, but he was defeated. So dragon lost. And there was no longer any place of them in heaven. So that's the time when all the angels are cast down.
Including Satan.
Okay. So the great dragon was thrown down. That ancient serpent, here we go. Ancient dragon, ancient serpent, the devil, Satan, deceiver. He was thrown down to earth. And when he is thrown down to earth, he becomes the beast. He is the beast.
No, not he's.
不是吗？
He's not the beast. He will stand and wait for the beast.
Okay. So we see here. So verses 7 to 9. That's the war in heaven. So all the satanic angels are lost and they're dumped down.
Okay, so 在这个时间点，所有的 fallen angel 全部都会在地上。
So you can see how evil it is when
One day
the angels are on this earth. So do we want to wait to go to be raptured? No, we better go as soon as we can.
Yes.
Okay, why? Here's the reason. Okay. The reason is the war in heaven, the believers, the martyrs, the believers in heaven.
就是说天上的战争是什么时候发生的？
And Satan is cast out. This is actually just a praise, a song that the martyrs in heaven are singing. Basically, they now know that, hey, remember earlier where I said, oh, how come all the evil angels and Satan are in heaven? So it's really a mix up, right? But now, once the angels, satanic angels are down on earth, now the martyrs
and the brethren.
and then the brethrens
The funny thing is,
rejoice.
but Michael, he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven. That means, the Satan what? No, that's right.
I think that's the wrong version. You be careful.
This is the 7, 8.
Yeah,
See?
read it.
Then war broke out in heaven.
Yes.
Michael and his angels fight against the dragon.
Okay.
And the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough.
Okay, so who is not strong enough?
Satan not strong
Yes.
enough. He lost their place.
Yes, exactly.
Satan, not me.
Dragon think you come out in the heaven. So Michael come from high.
So-
And I lost.
So now that's the reason why the martyrs and brethren are rejoicing. Now they're all clean. They all kick out the evil ones.
So 终有一个时间点，天上没有了撒旦跟他的服役，但是他们在哪里啊？全部在地上。
地下来了。
Yes.
他们跟 Michael 打仗以后呢，他们被 hurl down 以后，他们不能再上去了。
Yes.
Andrew, everything is
Yes.
very makes sense for the chapter 12.
Yeah.
But the only things is like the sun. If the sun happened in 2007, so
17.
why it has to
2017, right?
2017? Yeah, 2017. That's the first Greek sun, and
Yes.
then another sun appeared in heaven.
Yes.
It's
The dragon.
yes,
Okay.
but this sign.
Has
But
not
how
happened.
do we know eventually it will happen?
Yes.
But how do we know it happened in this year? Has to be this year or next year or after 10 years? So this is hard to it's very clear. Say exactly this.
Yeah,
year,
but then the other part that helps you is help us to understand is the generation. How long is the generation?
We talk about 70 to 80
that's
years.
it.
So that's why you have to piece. So that's why
Piece the
I'm
puzzle.
very excited because yes, Revelation 12 does not give us that information.
Yeah, all
But
that.
That's why when we do the Bible study, we can come to a conclusion that a generation might be 70 to 80 years.
So
Because we also see the pattern how they were exiled for 70 years and then returning. And
After this is second 70 years.
No, and then
this
and then-
another 70 years.
Jesus' time that he prophesied that Jerusalem will be.
Well, I understand, but everything for me for now is that everything's in process, depend on the revelation. This one,
Yes,
in
yeah,
process.
yes.
But the exact time here.
I do not put
That's
any
what I
dates
don't
there. We don't.
okay, good. So now you can see why the martyrs are rejoicing.
Yeah.
Okay.
因为撒旦不在上面了。
So now, that is exactly almost the same plan that God created. A place for
Saints.
his people, his saints, right? So I won't read this anymore. This is just a
Repeat. So
a song,
a song
of praise. Okay.
of praise.
But now we will read to the close of chapter 12. It's now the woman fleeing. Okay, so do you want to say anything here?
Yeah, 第13节说龙见自己被摔在地上。Okay, we just learned about that. 他跟那个 Michael 打仗的时候，他输了，他就下来。 逼迫那生男孩子的妇人 ，OK， 所以我们知道 dragon 要 thrown down to earth， 然后他才 pursued the woman， 你看见那个时间点吗？他必须被赶下来以后，他才 pursued the woman， 这个就是刚才我们读的第13节的一个图画哦。
I'll show you here. There.
He heard to the earth that they pursued the
And then 他要 throw down to the earth， 然后他 pursue the woman 哦。
Yeah. So now you can see how it's so layered. Sometimes you don't know where it is, but now because the dragon said that, oh, I cannot be in heaven anymore, so I will now
Yes.
go after the male child. But in this case, who is this male child? It's actually Technon. So this part now is the Israelites. Okay, so God's people, the Israelites. God still loves the Israelites. And here we get to see the woman was given 2 wings. We talked about symbology last few times. The wings of great eagle. So we talk about great eagles so that she might fly from the serpent into the wilderness. So we talk in Zechariah, we see that God was stepping on one side of the Mount Zion.
No, Olive.
Olive, sorry. And then there's a crack, like an earthquake.
Yeah.
So over here, I think next year. Okay, anyway, here.
Let me talk about something about the 2 wings, okay? 因为
Okay.
有一些人说 the two wings is actually airplane. So we don't see it as airplane. 因为 when you talk about 2 wings of great eagle, 我们可以读出埃及记的第19章。19章可以那里给我们知道这个 wings 就是 whenever you see eagle， 那个是神的，那个是是神的神的2个 wings。OK， 我在看，我知道是在神的2个 God as eagles。
第4节。
对，第4节 exactly。
你念吧。
好。
好嘞，来。
好，我向埃及人所行的事，你们都看见了，且看见我如鹰将你们背在翅膀上，带来归我。
对，那里
That is mean protection。
就是神没有，就是不是神，主耶稣自己会带他们经过那个山，就是经过那个逃难的那条路。
你要写下来。
可以啊，那 I have something that
This is
to fix it. Yeah.
出埃及记。
那出埃及记19章 verse 4。
So 你跟他说嘛 in Exodus about the 2 wings.
Yeah.
It's basically means protection.
Yeah.
所以主耶稣自己会带他们经过那个逃难的时间。
但你说会有人在中间死了，肯定会，我觉得。肯定 something passed away.
No, of course. 但是我们现在是读启示录的第12章，其他的经文以前我们已经读过了，我们读过那个情形是怎么样的。
Yeah. So in Exodus we see that God provided
Jesus,
2 wings.
Yeah.
No, Jesus. God.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Exodus, God.
God. Exodus is God.
Yeah. Exodus is God protecting the Israelites getting out. But now here we see in Revelation 12. This wings is actually Jesus.
Yes.
Is actually coming down to earth to protect the remnants of Israel to escape this situation.
其实我们没有时间读主耶稣在启示录的形象，但是当我明白了以后呢，我觉得主耶稣实在是很爱我们。主耶稣不但是为我们死在十字架上。他是一直陪着我们走每一天的人生的路。
One thing too is one of the questions when we were discussing is why people did not recognize Jesus. one of the things we studied and found out that when Jesus is glorified, people may not really recognize him. If you remember when Jesus came back, the apostles were on the shore. They were doing fishing, and then they thought he was a ghost, right? But Jesus said, no, I'm not a ghost. I'm Jesus. Come, get your fish. Let's have some food. Okay.
So they only recognize Jesus when Jesus called them.
Yeah. So when Jesus come down to rescue the remnants, people will not know that he's Jesus, but it is Jesus.
But when he comes back as a king, then everybody recognizes he is Jesus.
So one thing that we did not have time to talk about is
Jesus in the book of Revelation. That was very exciting.
We shortly talk about the 7 days, and then the 8th day. 7 days is cleaning, which is the we call it the transformation.
Yeah.
And then the 8th day, that is when we
enter
heaven to meet God. That's when we are glorified. That's when our body really changes.
Yeah. On the 8th day.
Okay. But we didn't talk about this, so we didn't have time. So here it talks about a time and a half. So we talk about that already. We know it's 1,290 days, right?
60 days.
60 days. Okay.
所以我们知道那个时间点就是以色列人要逃难的时候。
Yes. So again, on verse 15 to 17, I break out the Bible verses so that we know what's happening. This is very similar to Zechariah 14, right? The serpent poured out water, meaning he has armies going after the women, which is the Israelites, running out of Jerusalem. Okay, and the flood is basically like, wow, lots of the soldiers after them. But the earth came to help the woman. So in this case, we saw in Zechariah where there's an earthquake, the earth opened up. So that's basically similar. The earth opened its mouth and swallowed the river that the dragon has poured out from his mouth. So symbolically, the dragon became furious with the woman and went to war on the rest of his offspring. What do you think this is now? Verse 17.
17.
Yeah.
12:17.
Rest of his offspring.
Who is the rest of his offspring?
Now, first is the Israelites. So who is the rest of his offspring?
剩下的
Yeah, there's the rest.
Yeah.
The gender in the rest.
The rest of the Christians.
Yes, yeah.
That's left behind.
Yeah, the rest of Christian
And that's where the big persecution starts. Because he cannot go after the remnants.
So it is the Christian and also the leftover Israelites that who did not die, who did not make it to the escape.
所有其他的人都是这妇人的儿女吗？你要看他说的是这个龙向妇人发怒，是说的这一节吗？
Yeah.
对，
龙向妇人发怒，去与他
其他的
其余的儿女征战。那就其余的都是这个妇人的儿女吗？
还有别的儿女。
还有别的，就是没有逃，没有 make it through the escape。还有
妇人当时
是妇人，就是表示是以色列，也是表示 offspring， 就是可以也是说其他基督徒，其他的基督徒，
其他基督那个是他的。
那就包括比如说这个其他儿女，包括我们这样的，
对，包括我们，包括以色列没有逃，
但是这些人是守神诫命，为耶稣做见证的，就是你有这个信仰的，
对，
你相信耶稣的，
所以这个就是3年半的逼迫了，就是第一基督 第一季度在地上掌权的时间。
Yeah. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So the child originally now was the only the Israelites escaping.
Yeah.
And then now the other offspring, the rest of his offspring is whoever is left behind Christians. Yeah.
所以呢，基督徒会在那时候受到第一季度的逼迫。So 我们现在知道了，那我们就知道怎么样不跟从他的意思。
Okay.
我觉得，如果是神的儿女的话，哈，就有圣灵的教导，就是自然不会跟从他。如果说跟从他了，那也不是从神来的，真正的
是
会
真的，是，所以就是说，我们能够
不是所有人都能迷惑
overcome， 我们能够 overcome 的这个敌基督，我们宁愿死，但是那个死将来在天上是要做王，做祭司。
Okay.
就是说，神不会把我们留在这里受苦就算了。我们知道我们的永恒是怎么样的，我们就能够更加的有那个胆量。And we have purpose.
那在历史上，这些人已经有很多 martyr 了，已经有很多为神的这种
确认传道
已经宣道，就是殉道的这些人。那么这些人，他虽然现在死了，咱们说他上了天堂，无论在哪，那么他终有一天也会就是真正的被神就是给他还是有个永生的生命。
不但是永生，他们要做王，他们要做祭司。
不，他们现在也已经在天上了。
他们是跟主耶稣在一起而已。
对，不过他有一天那个什么是全复活，死人也复活，全部复活了，他们身体也复活，他们现在已经在天上。
那个就是我们所说那个24个 elder， 就是旧约
以前为主宣道的，就是在第一次被提的时候，他们在天上第一次已经要复活。
所以这里刚才说 martyrs and brethren rejoice，
那些人不是被提上去，
不是复活。
那你说
那个是那些不是被提的，
是复活，
他已经死在地上。
对，但是在天上
是就是耶稣的12个门徒吗？两个殉道者，
就是很多就是像那些。
现在
还有其他的那些，
那都包括在
对那些人不属于他们，不属于被提上去的，而是他已经死了。
对，
可能是他的灵魂在天上，
灵魂在
天堂。
但是
那些人如果有一天，当然咱们就说是按照启示录讲，就是说他们就是说他们复活，就是他们给他们重新一个 body， 他们降世为人，又重新到地下来。
但是他们的身体是一个荣耀的身体，
glorified，
不是以前的身体，是一个荣耀的身体。
他是说，他的意思是说新天新地的，就是
等到过了千几年之后
，you get a new body.
Yes.
It's like everyone has a new
No,
body.
yeah, but not everybody have to wait until that time. Not everybody have to wait until that time. We all have different timing. 但是到那个时候，是所有属神的人，我们都已经会有一个新的身体。
New body.
In a new body, it's not the same
It's
body.
not just like
Yeah, 不是现在的身体是一个像这一身身体，但是呢是一个荣耀的身体，是一个不朽坏的身体。
Yeah, good.
所以这个是很，其实对我们来讲，我们还不知道，但是我们知道这个是我们的前面的路。
实际上就是说这个就是整个这个都讲的，就是说，实际上在新天新地来之前是一个很艰难的一段时间，不是说是因为咱们现在说是呀，盼望耶稣再来的日子，其实耶稣再来的那个日子，那是这前面要经历一个很大的一个灾难的。这前面对吧？然后才会有个新天新地，所以那个时候，那是不同的。
又不是讲的要经历7号，要经历7晚，都要经历。
对，所以启示录说的这些东西都要经历完了以后，最后才有一个那个，就是千禧年之后
才是
千禧
真的
年到新天新地这之间是一个 hard time，是不是？
没有，
没有
现在到第二次来是一个 hard time，
hard time，
然后要进入千禧年，那个不是个 hard time， 千禧年是
耶稣再来的时候。
对那个一
耶稣的第一做王的时候，
对，
对
他是铁杖管辖，
但是用铁杖管辖，
那
对，
个时期
那个时间不是艰难的时候。但是在1000年快完结的时候，当撒旦又再出来引诱的时候，
对，
那个是个很短的时间。
就是敌基督的这些所有这些坏的撒旦他们都下来的时候，
对，这就是很艰难的时
给这个
间。
世界最乱的时候。
对，就是那3年半的时候，就是后3年半的时间是一个很艰难的时间。
Yeah.
但是这个就是主耶稣回来第二次回来之前很艰难的时间。然后我们快完了，我们就是看这个时间点，就是说不是时间点 ，I'm talking about when 事情是什么发生。我们知道这个是 Women's League，OK， 这个就是之后就是1260天，就是在这个的时间点的，这个是1260天。那我们知道就是说这个是 the Revelation 12 at a glance， OK，so the whole book of Revelation at a glance， 就是从2017年就是天上出了这个意象开始，然后呢我们会看到以色列会有一个战争，战争完结的时候呢，就是 the child， 我们知道这个 child 是 technon， 这个 child 不是不是主耶稣出生的时候这个是 child 有2方面，一个是the male child， 就是主耶稣掌王权，就是主耶稣掌王权，然后呢 technon 要被提的是technon 的身份被显露出来8天以后的，这个是第一次的被提。那我们地上的人在这个时间点身体会被改变，天上的就是以前过往 people by faith 那些为主宣道的做王做 king 的，他们在天上也在这个时间点会有身体的改变，跟我们一起的时间。那如果以前过去的人，他们如果不是 kings and priests 呢，他们要等主耶稣第二次来的 seventh trumpet 的时候，他们才会
你就是在等那个
复活
first
rapture，
对 rapture。那你要先等到 the son the Israel was attacked by whatever the first that's right yeah。
然后呢，我们知道我们第一次被提了以后呢，才会有这个才会有 the fifth seal martyr， 在地上有杀戮基督徒的事，也是等于就是说 as above so below， 就是说天上发生什么事，很多时候地上就知道发生什么事，是在地上有痛苦，天上也是有痛苦，就是战争。但是呢，我们知道这个战争的时候呢，撒旦就会被 hurl down， 以后他就不能在天上，他就在地上就 go against the other believers。这我们知道这个就是1260天。但是神很怜悯我们，因为他说在1260天之前 ，the day nobody knows what day or what hour， 他会减短，他会缩短那个时间，就是第3次的被提 ，this is the day nobody knows，nobody knows what day or what hour， 只是就是不知道耶稣会缩短多少，就算耶稣第3次被提了剩余的信徒，但是那个1260天还在进行呢，因为撒旦要管理的。神要给他只是1260天，但是在1260天之前所生下的基督徒，他们都会主耶稣会回来把他们接上去，那一天就是 nobody knows what day or what hour。That is where we should use that Bible verse。
那就Betty，你现在知道第一次的停的时间？
他完全他也不是，
我也不知道，
能准确的知道，他不知道，
我也不知道，
他只是按照就是那个从圣经的这种 knowledge 来推算出来。